So you see, I did what most KY students would normally do. I studied maths at the Resource Center. And I remember one day, after an extended study session, I felt my head spinning after hours of just trying to grasp the basics of calculus. Outside, I managed to put on a weak smile, but deep down, I was crying in simple harmonic motion. Is this what it means to be a KY student, where B means bad and A is simply average? As I was trudging my way back to the apartment along the never-ending walkway, I couldn't help but notice a group of students surrounding what seemed to be an ordinary tree. But based on how enthusiastically they were having a photo shoot of it, I'd say otherwise. A few steps forward, and I caught a glimpse of my friend in the physics lab, fiddling with an instrument I was not quite familiar with. And I thought to myself, I don't think that's in our syllabus. On my way back, as I was grabbing my laundry bag, I could faintly hear a fusion between classical and rock music through the padded walls of the music room. I didn't know these two genres could go so well together. Well, I guess I'd like to watch them perform during the Anderson concert. I was now walking past the field, filled with athletes. Footballers, rugby players tackling each other, mud smeared all over their house jerseys. And I felt my heart racing faster, as if trying to match the rhythmic swings I hear from the tennis, squash, and badminton courts. My back was already heavy with maths. But was that all I was carrying? My thoughts were interrupted when a friend of mine said hi from the frisbee stairs. She was so effortlessly sketching the chaotic scene of the field in her knee pad. Something I could never do. I only know how to play 4 chords on the ukulele. Sure, I play squash, but I'm no pro at it. Despite being a Bharatanatyam dancer, I could never gather the courage to perform during our concert. And draw? The only thing I'd ever be able to draw would be lab apparatus. And that too with a stencil. Is being a KY student really just about the smarts? At that moment, it felt like the bare minimum. I finally reached my apartment and I could only manage to stare at my reflection at the window. Before I entered, I had to choose an ending to my story. I could either be a girl who continuously doubts herself and compares herself to those around her, or I could be someone with a newfound rage to strive, work hard, and become the best version of herself. I chose the latter. Now I'm sure most of us here have come across the term imposter syndrome before. Based on the 2011 Journal of Behavioral Science, studies have shown that nearly 70% of adults have experienced symptoms of imposter syndrome in their lives. Contrary to popular misconception, imposter syndrome is not a medical condition, but rather a feeling of inferiority, the feeling of I'm not good enough, and a tendency to feel like a fraud. The severity of the condition might worsen, especially if the person comes from a historically marginalized community, like women, people of color, or even the LGBTQ+ community. To a certain extent, I checked those boxes. I didn't know that this feeling that I'd been experiencing since high school had a name to it. Not until I was drowning in a sea of high achievers in Malaysia. But how would one know if they have imposter syndrome? I was also thinking about if the people around me felt the same way. After carrying out a survey amongst high-achieving students in Malaysia, mostly students from KYUEM, KTJ, and also the alumni of these schools, I found out that that over 86% of the respondents have experienced or are experiencing symptoms of imposter syndrome in their lives. Most of them attributed their success to external factors, feared that they won't live up to expectations, suffered from anxiety, and had self-doubt. Does this sound like you? How did I find out that I had imposter syndrome? I first diagnosed myself when I realized that I'd been continuously doubting myself, comparing myself to my peers. From what I see, people with imposter syndrome tend to be overachievers, and more often than not, they bite off more than they can chew. They tend to set unrealistic goals for themselves, and in the end, they feel disheartened when they fall short. I'd like to also share another important characteristic of imposter syndrome. It's known as the imposter cycle, and this is quite simple. It begins when an individual is assigned with an achievement-based task. An imposter will then choose to react in one of two ways. They would either over-prepare from the very beginning, or they will procrastinate initially and then hastily complete the task later on. Either way, upon receiving positive feedback for their success, the people who over-prepared in the beginning tend to believe that they've only succeeded because of hard work. And they hold fixed beliefs that success through hard work does not represent their true capabilities. I mean, if anyone works hard, they can achieve that, right? That's what they think. On the other hand, people who procrastinated earlier, they have a higher tendency of tying their success to external factors like luck or fate. I must have been lucky. It was probably just fate. Either way, both these types of imposters would highly doubt themselves. This high self-doubt will induce anxiety, and anxiety will keep this vicious cycle continuous the next time they are given an achievement-based task. But why am I telling you all of this? The reason I'm here today is neither to share my pain in mathematics with you, nor to just tell you about boring facts that you could just read up online. But rather, I'm here to show you how you could use imposter syndrome to your advantage if assessed wisely. Let's think of it this way. Doesn't feeling not good enough just basically mean that there may be room for improvement? Isn't this just another opportunity for us to grow? I know, this mindset might be draining, overwhelming, and can even lead to burnout. But if we can master the art of controlling it, it can catalyze enormous amounts of success for us. I once read an article that negative emotions can be a powerful tool that produces positive outcomes if we react to them well. The very fact that you realize this feeling says a lot about you and how much you care about what you do. The best thing to do right now is to sit back, relax, reflect on your strengths and weaknesses. Take time to validate your achievements and know that you are worthy of your success. And in the end, please remember, we are all beautiful human beings with unique talents and abilities. It's unfair for us to compare one star with another, because every star fissions when it's time to fill our night sky, without which only a dark, empty canvas would remain. Thank you, everyone. I'm Kavvinah, Murali. Thank you for coming together.